I've seen some issues around people wanting to put the logo over the multi-page page selection menu. Well, now there's a function for this.
Up logo.
Here's a logo I custom made just for this video, and to put it here in the top of the sidebar, I use the add logo method, which takes as input an URL. So I even needed to push this logo to GitHub and get back a static URL I can use. You cannot use a local image loaded in Python though with this function, and given the source code, I think you'll need to wait for the roadmap item named static images that is hopefully implemented in January 2023.
Nathaniel, where's the code for that function? And what's that buy me a coffee button in the bottom right corner?
I'll tell you later. First I need my coffee. I think this is an amazing function. Let me show you. I've put the switch page inside a Streamlit button with the name of a page I want to jump into, and the moment this function is run, for example here, when I click on the button, it will immediately jump to the selected page. This can be super useful to control where the user is inside your application. For example, I could add a configuration page here where it asks me to enter some random file, and when I click on enter, it will put this in session state and make this button appear. Now if I switch to this page using the button, we can add a condition. If the session state doesn't contain the configuration we specified before, it will immediately switch back to configuration page, and otherwise it will just continue doing its job. And if we take a look at the source code for this method, we can see it uses some Streamlit internal methods that enables us to get the names of all the pages, and I think there's even a way in the forum I saw to actually hide from the internals of Streamlit the names of the pages in the sidebar, but this is something I need to confirm, and I'll get back to you. If I find the link, I'll put it in the description for you. Vertical space. Finally, you can control the vertical spacing between multiple widgets without having to write any st_right of white spaces. What? Oh, it's actually a loop of st_right with empty values? Well, let me tell you the secret location to all those methods. It's called Streamlit Extras, and it is maintained by the data science team at Streamlit. That is almost a guarantee that this library is going to be maintained in the long run. They are regularly adding new snippets to this library using the solutions that are produced in the forum or on the GitHub issue. So whenever you're missing a functionality in Streamlit, just ask the forum or the GitHub issues, and maybe until it appears in the roadmap for future integration in Streamlit, it may appear in the Streamlit Extras, so keep an eye on it. Streamlit Extras has already got a lot of functions. I'm not going to go through all of them, but
Annotated text.
the first part here is the integration of a pretty popular component from Thiago, one of the founders of Streamlit. It takes as input a list of words with the associated color of the background, a border as a CSS, and the entity that is to be put on the side. And this is very useful for those of you who are doing NLP and entity recognition to explain the semantics of a sentence. And if you're looking for a way to display word importances in a sentence, you know, for doing those lime explainability sentences, well, you can use the format word importances, which for each word associates a value between -1 and 1, and it will color the word accordingly to the value. Custom links. A great way to spice up your app with custom links. Here on the left column you can see those badges that you usually see in the Markdown README on GitHub. For example, this PyPy package to Streamlit Drawable Canvas, my repo to Streamlit eCharts, or even this application to open in Streamlit. Here's my follow me on Twitter if you want to find my latest news and video ideas. That's where you need to go. You can see those Notion-like links with customizable icons on the left and some text on the right. And you can even, I'm going to jump to the last column, you can put those Notion-like links into Markdown using the Markdown lit method. Here, for example, you got the Streamlit app, or they use this instead with some emoji icon here. In the Markdown lit library, you can also use your own set of colors in Markdown. pretty neat. Last but not least, if you're adding keyboard shortcuts by using this tutorial, for example, well, you can specify the shortcut in the app with a specific styling. I think this one is pretty awesome. By the way, I'm putting a colored header that is also from the Streamlit Extras library. But let's get back to our text input. Usually in Streamlit, when you use a text input, anytime you type text, there's no reaction or there's no update until you press enter. And then there you go. Enter here. Vanille. Hello, Vanille. Hi. If you use the key app widget instead, like in the bottom here, whenever I type text, it immediately reruns the Streamlit app. So it's got this kind of React feeling or gradual update feeling. It's quite nice. Maybe don't abuse it. I haven't used it in real conditions, so you need to ensure that your app is not too heavy and that you've properly cached all of the heavyweight functions before using this. The first row here, do you recognize it? It's actually a row of Streamlit metrics, and there's a specific method in Streamlit Extras that enables you to restyle those metrics to add your specific background color or the color of the border, the styling of the border, or the size of the shadow here. Beware, it's a global styling of all the metric cards. It would be awesome if you could add as argument a specific Streamlit container like a row or a column, but I think here in the source code it's using a metric container, so we would need to add a CSS class or an ID inside the container to be able to target it in CSS. That's not possible yet. Well, wait and see if that happens. You can also add a card-like widget that links back to a specific link and with the picture you want and the text you want and etc. Faker! Are you so lazy you don't want to load your own data to build your Streamlit application? Well, there's a perfect solution for this. Thanks to the Faker, you're able to build a fake ST that you can use as the normal ST, but whenever you use it, it will generate a random instance of a widget. For example, this fake info, fake markdown, or fake select box. I didn't load anything in there. This is generated automatically using the Faker library. You even got this seed functionality that when you change the seed, it will generate new widgets. I think this is really nice if you're too lazy to specify the Altair specification or any matplotlib chart. Function Explorer. This one is still very alpha. It doesn't work with a lot of functions for pandas or numpy, for example, but the day it works, using it immediately for any Python library. Before talking about it, let me show you the Streamlit Pydantic library. What it does, it generates a Streamlit form with the widgets that match the typing of the properties in a Pydantic model. So for example, here we've got some text as a string and some number as an integer. It will generate the text box and then number input and some boolean here. And when you submit, I think it generates an instance of this model with the values from the widget. On the forum, there's somebody that did the whole conversion from function signature to Pydantic model to Streamlit UI, so that means for any function you get the UI immediately. Now going back to our Function Explorer, here I wanted to use the Function Explorer on the JSON loads, and what you can see, you've got the inputs and you've got all the arguments of JSON loads here inside text input. This is amazing. I could put here name vanilla, and then if I press enter, it would run the JSON loads on this method and we would see the output in the bottom. So the thing is, it doesn't work that way. It actually only runs Streamlit calls in that function, so I'm sad. I think I need to use that. I would try to use that generalized function to Streamlit form instead. Buy me a coffee! Click on this button and go buy me a coffee. It will definitely help on my sleepless nights. Bye!